Okay, welcome everybody. We're for our 14th class on Aparokshanubhuti. We've had some interesting discussions in the Sunday open discussion, also even related to this text. So as we continue to try to use this for our own benefit, we'll have the discussion that comes afterwards, an hour of lecture roughly, and then a Q&A. So although we'll be turning off the hand raising in the chat, there'll be an opportunity to continue our discussions on this topic and on this class in particular with Bindo afterwards. Also, welcome to anyone who happens to only listen to this on replay, and for all of us to remember that there are replays available here, especially of the Sunday Q&As, but that we can go to a YouTube channel called Advaita Retold to find these classes and many other classes that aren't even on replay here. And Prakash has posted the link to that in the chat. The document that's in the chat also that's in Sanskrit is a 13th century commentary on Aparokshanubhuti, but it's only available in Sanskrit, and Bindu works off of that plus adds his own understandings into these talks. The document that's pinned above is simply an English translation of Aparokshanubhuti itself, but there's no commentary available in English, so that's where we get the benefit from listening to Bindu discuss the text. So now that we're all oriented, we'll go for about an hour of lecture, and then we may also have some additional announcements at the end of the whole class from Binduji. And again, thank you, Prakash, for all your support, and everyone for being here, because you're the reason that Binduji is doing this. So, Bindu, if you'd like to go ahead.
Thank you, Admission. Thank you, Prakash. Welcome all to the 14th session of Aparokshanubhuti. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrubhyo Vamshirishibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhyaha Śruti smṛti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashi Gurudau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Guru Ratmeti Murtibheda Vibhagine Vyomavatyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Aparokshanubhuti. Sri Harim Paramanandam Upadeshtaramishwaram Vyapakam Sarvalokanam Karanam Tam Namamyaham. So in the last class, we completed the association we are having with our body. And we were taken by Acharya Shankara and the commentary by Vidyaranya that Naham deho hyasatrubo jnanamityachade bhute. So, with various definition of ātmā and deha, how deha can never be the I, which we are always saying aham. Aham nirmalaha, nischalaha, anantaha, śruddhā, ajaraha, amaraha, etc., etc. All those terminologies were used. Now, in the next 3 verses, Acharya is talking about the foolishness of the other philosophies, where they are holding it to their, pet ideas. How that is to be seen as a result of the same ignorance, which is the reason why we are identifying with our body. So, swadehe shobhanam santam puruṣakyam cha sammadam. Kim murkha śūnyavātmanam dehādītam karoshi bho. Oh means is addressing. Oh, murkha. Murkha means ignorant one. So he is addressing the ignorant one, saying swadehe. In the swadehe means residing in our own body. One, what is dehātītam, which is beyond the body. Because we know that the body is undergoing change and the body is also subject to the 6 modification, ātmā. So when it is being that understood, the aham or the I-ness in us is not affected by anything that's happening to the body. So therefore, the I-ness or the ātmā has to be dehātītam. Dehātītam means deha atītam. Atītam means beyond. Dehātītam means beyond the body. And that is shobhanam, that is pure and blissful in nature. And it is also called Purusha. Purushakyam. This body is not the Purusha. So in the Bhagavad Gita, the kshetrajñam cāvimāmritim sarva kshetreshu bharata. So there that definition is very clearly given and it has been discussed in detail there. So the Purusha or the kshetrajña or the one who is residing in the body beyond what is also at the same time which is beyond the body. Sammadam means is established, accepted by the śruti as identical with Brahman. Śruti said, especially when we did the second chapter of Taittiriya, we saw that, tasmāt etasmāt ātmana ākāsha sampūdaha. When that was explained, suddenly the shift in the śruti from Brahman to Atman, which was explained by Bhashyakara Shankara, that the Atma and Brahma are identical. And that Atma or Brahman is Santam, means ever existent. This Atma is always present in us. Whether we are alive or dead doesn't make it. The body may be alive or dead. But for us, there is no birth or death. Na jayate mriyate va kadachit. There is no way in which we are going through the birth and death. We means not the body, identification. So all the previous verses we have de-identified ourselves with the body. So therefore now the Atmanam, this Atman, is asking the śūnyavāda of the Buddhist tradition that Kim Śūnyam Karoshi. Why are you saying that when we are saying we are not the body, we are not the mind, we are not the intellect, mano buddhi ahankara chittani naham, and whether we are saying that annamaya kosha, pranamaya kosha, manomaya kosha, vijñānamaya, ānandamaya kosha, karana sharita tītam. All those things, when we say that, the tendency to go to the non-existence by the certain group of philosophers thinking śūnyavādins. So he is being addressed as the śūnyavādin, as the ignorant one. How can you be calling the Atma as Śūnya, as non-existent, to an ever-existent Nityaha Śruddhā Buddhaha? That is the nature of Atman. That Nityatvam of Atman, how can you say is Śūnyatam, is never existent? So that is due to your ignorance only, is the reason why you are saying that Atma is non-existent or Śūnya. So in the commentary by Vidyaranya, he says, Nanu Atma pratyaksha deha rupaha na bhavati tarhi śūnyata atmana syat iti āshankya aha swadehe iti. So the objection is that if Nanu is the objection, Atma pratyaksha deha rupaha na bhavati. If the self is not in the form which is not perceived directly by from in the deha, as the deha, or we don't perceive it as a body, tarhi śūnyavāda ātmana syat. We cannot perceive that ātmā like how we perceive ātmā, deha. Therefore, will it not be śrunyata? If that is the ashanka or the doubt, then says swadehe iti. So it would be void otherwise. So swadehe is the way in which he is addressing that. Oh, he murkha śūnyavādin. That is the last line we have seen that. Swadehe means in the body, not as the body. Puruṣaḥyam. So puruṣaḥyam he is defining as puri means manushya sharira or the sharire. You cannot say manushya sharira here, every body. Puri ushati. Ushati means vasati. One who resides in the body. Aham ākārena vasati puruṣaḥ iti ākya. In the form of the I, the sense of I, aham ākāra. In the sense of I, it is residing in the body. Because we know that the I-ness which we feel within the body is not definitely the body. Therefore, it is as if it is utilizing this body for its performance of or for his identific acknowledgement. Nama yasya tam, that is his name. Akhya means name. Ataha eva shobanam mangalam sharira vilashkanatvad adimangalam tada sammadam. Therefore, he is auspicious, shobana, beyond the body, sharira vilakshanatvad, and hence supremely auspicious, mangalam, atimangalam. This is the sammadam of the śruti, or that is the way in which the śruti has acknowledged it, where it is saying, ayam ātmā brahma, ityadi vakya nirnitam, cha kārat. Cha, in the word cha, uttamaḥ puruṣastu anyaḥ, in the smṛti also we have to take it into account. So it is also found that the statements like, this ayam ātmā brahma and the uttamaḥ puruṣastu anyaḥ, in these two statements, it is very clearly both the śruti and smṛti, that is the Upanishad as well as Bhagavad Gita, is very categorically defining that this ātmā is different from the body, yet utilizing the body for its own expressions. Gada drishtavat deha drishtatvena dehatītam ātmānam satatam bhavam santam sarva vyavahara adhishtānam. Now, like the perceiver of the pot different from the pot, gada drishtat deha drishtatvena dehatītam. Gada drishtavat. In one who is seeing the pot is different from the pot. So too the self, as a witness of the body, is beyond the body. And satatam bhavam, it's ever existent. Santam means, and sarva vyavahara adhishtanam. It is the basis for all transaction. Transactions are happening because Atma is present in the body. If the Atma is not present in the body, the transactions can never take place. Even the Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, which we are experiencing through the body, cannot take place in the absence of Atma. Therefore, we have to understand that this differentiation between the Deha and Atma is the reason why we are categorizing that Atma is different from the body. But what happens the śrunyavādin? Śrunyavādin says that, you cannot perceive the Atma like the body, therefore it is Śrunya. Śrunyam kha pushpādivat atyanda abhava rūpam kim karoshi. Why are you doing that is a question being asked to the śrunyavādin. Atyanda Śrunya, atyanda abhava. Śrunyam is atyanda abhava. that means absolute absence is shunyam. Because anything otherwise, there is a pratyogi or an opposite for which you find an absence. The darkness is the absence of light. The ignorance is absence of knowledge. But whereas shunyam is absolute absence of everything, atyandabhava. That atyandabhavam is like something like the horns of the hare or horns of a horse, or kham pushpam means akasha pushpam. That is the flower of the sky, which can never happen, which is never there. Khatam manyate mam anyatha iti bhavaha. Why are you doing that when you are imagining yourself? This ātmā, aham, is a pratyaya or is the way in which we address ourselves. Unless it is there, how can we not address it? The moment we are addressing as I is due to the presence of something. Then how can you call it as atyanda shunyam or śūnyavādin? Kvachit swadeham iti dvitiyanta pataha. Tasmin pakshe dehatmavadi eva vadati uktalakshanam manushya deham tyaktva samanam anyat. Kvachit means alternatively. There is in some other reading that the shloka has two padaveda difference. Swadeham iti dvitiyanta pataha. In some versions, swadeham is used that in accusative case. That is that in that reading, what that means? Dehatmavadin. Those who think that the body itself is this is the charvakas. Dehatmavadin. They think that there is no ātmā separate. The deha itself is the ātmā. Body itself is the ātmā. Having abandoned this defined human body, I take another similar one. That is the dehatmavadi, uktalakshanam, manushya deham tyaktva, samanam anyat. So, even the dehatmavadin do not accept there is a rebirth for this body. Ranangritva ghritam pibet. That is, even by stealing, you should eat and take care of your body. That is what their philosophy is. They don't believe that there is a life after this life. So all they do is live and enjoy and merrily and go through that. So why the sickness and everything is because you are not taking care of your body. It is not due to any punya karma or papa karma as per them. So those who are the people who are called the charvakas or charuvakas. So that is also, you can take that also as another philosophy which is being refuted by this particular verse. Then comes the next verse. Swatmanam shrunu murkha tvam śrutya yuktya cha puruṣam dehātītam sat-ākāram sadurdashai bhavadrishai. Again, bho murkha, O ignorant one. Tvam swa-ātmānam śrutya yuktya cha. Your own self. What is your own self? With the help of the śruti and by reasoning, also by knowing the Purusha or knowing the witness by the śruti and the yukti, dehatītam puruṣam, sat-ākāram, in the form of sat-ākāram. Sat means existence. That is the nature in which the ātmā is being to be understood by the śruti and the logic. But bhavadrishai, by persons like you, sudurdasham is śrunu avadharaya. you are finding it difficult to understand it. Durdasham means difficult to grasp it. Even though the śruti and the yukti is giving us all the means in which we can establish that I-ness which is beyond the body, as an existence. This is not accepted by certain people. Especially, is talking about again the same Charvaka and other type of people who are refusing that there is anything other than the beyond the body. Persons of, those who have Varnashrama Dharma or, the different, even you can include Mimamsa people into this category. So that is where they are finding it difficult to accept there is an Atman. That's why Mimamsa, the Purva Mimamsa has never accepted the latter half of the Vedas, Uttara Mimamsa, as a valid document. Even though it is part of Veda, they accept it part of Veda, but they say it is just for the purpose of eulogizing the karma. What is this which is being mentioned? Now in the Vidyaranya Swami in the commentary says that Natu śūnyavādinaha eva abhava apate śūnyam ma astu. It is not only the śūnyavādin who are refusing the fallacy of non-existence. Paramtu atmanaha dehaditatve pramana abhavat deha eva ātmā syāt iti ākaṅkṣya ākā swātmanamiti. Because there is no pramana. There is something called dehatitva. Because they don't accept the pramana of śruti. This Charvakas, or there are people who do not accept that scriptures are valid source of knowledge for ātmā, which is beyond the body. So for that, swātmanam is the way in which the reply is beginning with the swātmanam. O murka dehatma vadin charvakaha. Tvam swātmanam swakiyam ātmanam puruṣam dehātītam dehatiriktam. This, O fool Charvaka, your own body, your own ātmā, swakiya ātmanam, your own ātman, which you say that your expression as aham, or when you say that aham, even the Charvaka says aham. But they say that is by the body. But it is to be seen as dehatītam, dehatiriktam. How? Śrutya. Tasmat etasmat annarasamayat anya andara ātmā. In the Taittiriya Upanishad, 2nd chapter, we heard that. Tasmadva etasmad atmana akasha sambhutaha. In starting from that, it says further, Tasmat etasmad annarasamayat anyaḥ andara ātmā is the statement which we studied in the Taittiriya Upanishad. Which very clearly the Śruti says that there is a anyaḥ, antara ātmā, which is annamayat andaraha. It is functioning through the annamaya or inside the annamaya. And śrutya, yuktya is the another word which is there in the shloka, in the verse. So yuktya means in the logic. Ekasmin kartru karma viroda ityadi rupaya. The mutual contradiction. Kartru karma, the subject object in the same locus. This is a very technical subject, that kartru karma, that is the subject cannot be the object. and the activity. The subject can never be the object. So that is the reasoning which proves that we are knowing the body as an object. So the body can never be the subject, because saying that the subject and object activity should not be there in the body. So there has to be a subject which is knowing the body. Therefore, the antara ātmā, the ātmā has to be something separate from the body. Shrunu avadaraya. Dehadiditve kim ākāraha ātmā. So the Charvaka is asking, what is the form of ākāra? What is the ākāra form of the self beyond the body? For that, the term is sat-ākāra. Sat-ākāra. Asti iti etat matra vyavahara karana bhuta ākāraha yasyaha tam. Asti iti. The isness or the amness, I am, or it is in the form of existence. That is the form of ākāra, means form. The isness is a form. Unless there is a existence, there cannot be vyavahara karana. There can never be a basis for a transaction, which is enabling the transaction. It exists. It alone is its form. That isness is the form. For any it, whether is when this body or any body or anything for that matter, the isness of which we see that astitva matram, that is the ākāra for the vyavahara karana. Evam vidaha asti chet kutaha na drishyate. Again the question is asked that if evam vida, if that such is the case is the all of the safe of the self, why is it not seen? We are seeing objects in the nama rupa, in the form of nama rupa. But the astitvam, the existence of them, is not visible by the sense organs. But we know the existence of it. At the same time, we do not know what is that? Because the reply is sudurdasham iti. Bhavadrisai śruti ācārya śraddhā śūnyaihi sudurshasham sarvada darshana ayogyam. Those who do not follow the śruti ācārya and without śraddhā, śūnyaihi means those who are not accepting that śruti ācārya with the śraddhā, for them durgraham or durdasham. For them it is very difficult to understand Artyam because they don't have the śraddhā. That faith in the scripture and the teacher's words, just not a blind faith, śrutya yuktya, by the śruti vakya and the logic with the śruti and the teacher is explaining it. Because karma kartritva vyavahara karana bhu, it is being explained in this thing. Even when in the Taittiriya Upanishad, when it is there, annamayat anyaḥ, when it is mentioned that annamayat anyaḥ, that experience of the annamaya as this or as an object for the knower of the body is the reason why the logic and the words of the Śruti is becoming valid. Otherwise, the Śruti, the teacher's word or the scriptural words will not be valid if it doesn't, is not validated by the logic of it. Therefore, it is logically proven that the body is different from the knower of the body. Hence, it is altogether unfit for any directory perception. Therefore, this astitva or astirupa, that which is explained being now by the Śruti, where is it saying? Sadeva Saumya Idamagra Asit. In the Chandogya we heard that. Sat Eva Agre Asit. In the beginning it only existed as existence. The existence itself is the one which is now being experienced as the Nama Rupa in different forms. So, hence altogether it is unfit for perception even when the existence is. Now this is very well detailed explained in the commentary for the verse 216 of Bhagavad Gita by Shankaracharya. Nasate vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate sata. That verse commentary is one of the best explanation which can be given to prove the existence of Atma or Brahman. That is because it's not possible for Atma to be seen because it is not a drashta because of adrishta rupa. Tasya adrishta rupatvad iti eva iti artaha. Because that is the meaning, adrishta rupatvad. This exactly is what in the Kathopanishad also where we said that, Paranchigani vidranat soyambo tasmat parang pasyati nandaratman. Kaschid dhiraha pratyakatmanamachat avrutta chakshu amrutattvamichat. There also it is telling the same thing. So the śruti is telling that all the sense organs are placed in the body for sensing everything outside. Na andaratman. Not the self or the existence within. Kaschid dhiraha pratyakatmanamachat. The one who had the intelligence and the courage to turn inward, look inward, he saw the pratyakatman. So, that is what this verse is coming in. There is again here in this also, there is a padapeda. Purva shloka ukta dvitiya apekshaya dehatmavadinaha samadhanartha ayam shlokaha svatmanamiti. Alternatively, this verse also, atmanamiti, is intended to reply the second objection mentioned in the previous verse for the benefit of the body self-proponent, dehatmavadi. Those who proponent that the body itself is the Atma. Now comes the next verse. Aham shabdena vikhyata eka eva sthitas paraha sthulattvena ekatam praptaha kadam syad dehaka puman. Now starting from here, kadam syad dehaka puman is being repeated. How can that be the person? Deha, syad dehaka puman means the body. How can the body be the Purusha? How can the body be the Atma? That is the way in which it is this thing. Now from this verse onward, there is again 5 verses which are repeating this kadam syad dehaka puman. Let us look into that. Aham shabdena vikhyatha eka eva sthita paraha. Paraha means beyond, which is indicating to Atma or the Purusha. Aham shabdena, the aham pratyena, or the aham, the word I. Vikhyata means well known. Vishesha, khyata means known. Vikhyata means vishesha, well known. Eka eva, as only one sthita. It is that I-ness, the feeling of I, is one. One means same in everyone or every existence. Whether it is human beings, animals, birds, anything for that matter. The existence is felt in the same way. I exist, you exist, the bird exists, the tree exists, the mountain exists, the water exists, the atoms exist, the sky exists. Everywhere the existence is in the same way. There is no two way one can know about it. The name and the form and the adjectives of the body can change, but the existence in which the body exists, or the shape exists, or the name and the form exists, that is Vishwa Vikhyata, is well known by one word, Aham. The word Aham means I Shabdena. I, ātmā pratyaya, Aham pratyaya. So that is even that the I-ness is felt, whether it is a man, a woman, a young, old, child, bird, tree, mango, animal, every one of them, the sense of I is indicated by the word Aham. The only human beings use the word Aham and transact it, but the feeling of the I-ness is there in everyone. That is why it is called Vikhyata, Vishesha Khyata. Even a cow has the feeling of I-ness. A horse has, a dog has, a bird has. Everything which is living has got it. They are showing it. It is there in the inanimate things also, but they are not able to express it. Stulaha tu anekatam praptaha. Stula sharira, that gross body, from human beings to animals to birds to the trees to the mountains and stones, etc. Anekata, multifold or manifoldness in nature, is that way in which has been seen it in the mything. When the feeling of the sense of the I, or the existence of the ātmā or the aham pratyaya, is common for everything, but there is a multitude difference in the appearance of the body. How can the body be the one which is saying aham? Therefore, katam syat dehaka puman. Dehaka means one which is in the one which is residing in the body. How can that be the dehaka, the ones who is identifying with the body? We are identifying the body because we think that we are the body. But we are not the one which is identifying with the body. It is due to our ignorance we are identifying with the body. Therefore, the question comes, Katam syat dehaka puman. So how can this body be the Purusha? Now, Vidyaranya is taking it very clearly in his commentary. Tat eva aha aham ityadi saptabhihi shlokai. There are 7 verses which are following now this. Where paraha dehat anyaḥ ātmānam aham shabdena upalakshana. This I is the upalakshana. The word I, aham, is not the aham which we identify with the individuality. Also pratyaya, it is a concept. Even the I which we are having in us is a pratyaya, is a concept, aham pratyaya. Aham shabdena aham pratyaya. That means you are using the word aham. I am conceiving the I-ness in me. Is prasiddha, is well known with everyone. Kim lakshana ityata aha ekaha iti. Then what is the lakshana? Eka. Even though a cow or a dog or a horse will also have the feeling of the I-ness in it, because of which it identifies with its body. The I, without the pratyaya, without the imagination of the self, which is in the form of sat-ākāra, in the form of sat, existence. That is prasiddha, is well known. Kim lakshana ityataha eka. That is why eka eva stita eva iti pratyegam avadharanam. Sat is one and only one. Sthita eva, ever established. This way of exclusive assertion by I-ness in every being is well known by the expressions given by the every being. Tu śraddhā, but the word tu, the word tu in the sloka is for to indicate but. Purvoktat ātmaṇah stūla dehasya vailakshanya dyotakah is to indicate the distinction from the previously stated gross body. So we saw that dehaka puman. How is that? How can that be the Purusha or the one who is identifying with the body? Stula dehaka means one with the gross body, with the hands, limbs, and growth, decay, young, old, etc. Deha eva dehaka. Here dehaka means is for the meter of the words. That is the why the word dehaka is used. It is to indicate the deha only. The ka suffix is being reflexive in nature, swarte, to indicate the dveha in the deha meaning. That is why he is giving the grammar here. Katam puman purusha ātmā syāt. So the Purva Pakshi is asking, how could the Purusha, the conscious being, not the body? Why are you saying it is not the body? Na katamchit ityartaha. It is never seen as the body because bodies are multitude in nature. It is varying from one another thing. So if aham is the same in everyone, the bodies also has to be the same. The horse should not have a different body. The cow should not have a different body. The dog should not have a different body. Human beings should not have different body. All the bodies should be looking alike. Dehasya anatmatve hetum aha anekatam. Therefore, anekatam means multiplicity. Parasparam bhinnatam prapta. It is mutually different from each one. Evam tamaprakashavat ati vilakshanatve api dehasya atmatvam bruvan atimūḍhatvat upeksha iti bhavaha. So, tamaprakashavat ati vilakshanatve api. The light and darkness extremely dissimilar. Light and darkness is opposite to each other. Same is the difference between the deha and the ātmā. This is again mentioned in the Brahma Sutra beginning Bhashya is that. Tamaprakashavat viruddha svabhavayo. Yushmad asmat pratyaya gocharayo vishaya vishayino. Tamaprakashavat viruddha svabhavayo is that way in which the Brahma Sutra Bhashya starts. So same thing he is referring to here. Dehasya atmatvam bruvan. One who says the body is the self due to extreme delusion. Atimūḍhatvat. Only a fool can say that I am the body. Because he is seeing the body, he knows that it is my body, my hand, my leg, my eyes, my nose, my everything is mine. But still he says that I am the body, or that way he accepts that is the body. That can only happen due to atimūḍhatvat, extreme foolhardiness. And therefore it can be dismissed. Iti bhavaha. Then the verse number 32 again, here also it is the same by saying, Aham drishtataya siddho deho drishyataya stitaha mama ayam iti nirdeshat katam dehakat syappuman. katam syat dehaka puman. This katam syat dehaka puman is a question again and again which is repeating 7 times in the following verses. So we saw the first one, this is the second one. How can this body be the Purusha? What is the saying? Aham drishtataya. As a subject of perception, the I is established. Śraddhā, asmi. I am the perceiver. I am the subject, or I am the one who is perceiving it. Deha, the body. Deha is drishyataya. Therefore is an object for my perception. Is standing as an object for me to observe my body. The changes in the body is being well seen by me. So I am the perceiver and the body is the perceived, or I am the subject, the body is an object. Ayam mama iti nirdeshat. Also, I am also using the word this body or my body. In this fashion, I am also transacting with the world. It is my body or this body when I am transacting with others. I don't say I am body, and then transaction is not based on the I am that body. Even though I am transacting as if I am the body. See, there is a subtle difference between the two. While the transaction is happening, identifying with the body, but the words used for the transaction differentiate the body as an object. Therefore, you have the knowledge of that this body is not you, but at the same time, you identify it for transactional purpose. How can this body be the Purusha? How can this body be the one which you think you are that? So here, tadeva ati vailakshanyam darshitam aham iti. Aham shabda pratyaya alambanam ātmā drishtataya shabdādi vishaya prakāshataya siddha. So the very difficult dissimilarity between the body and the aham is shown by the following thing. Aham shabda pratyaya alambanam ātmā. Ātmā is what? Is a alambana or the basis for the notion of the word I, like that. The self is also having the notion that I am the word aham. Whereas drishtataya shabdādi vishaya prakāshataya siddha. And drishtritaya, as a seer or the perceiver, the word I, vishaya prakāshataya siddha. Vishaya prakāshataya, by illumining the objects. Shabdādi means shabda, sparsha, rasa, rupa, gandha, all the 5 sensory organs. All the vishayas or all the subjects or all the objects of the sensory inputs. Prakāshataya, by illumining them. What I see is illumined by me. What I hear is illumined by me. What is being sensed as touch, smell, taste, etc. All of them, Vishaya Prakāshataya Siddha, that is, therefore it is established that this Aham, Shabda, is the perceiver, the subject. Again, Shabdam Shrunomi Ityadi Vyavaharena Prasiddha. I am hearing the sound. The sound is different. I am the one who is hearing the sound. I am seeing the object. I am touching the object. I am tasting the object. Like all the Vyavaharena Prasiddha. by all the transaction, it is very, very clear that I am the one which is different from the senses and the sensory inputs. Dehaha tu drishyataya shabdadivat prakashataya siddhaha. Whereas the body, I can hear my heartbeat, so my heart is different from me. I can hear my, fingers cracking or my bones making sound, or when I am scratching my body, it is making sound. When I'm touching my body, I can sense the touch. When I'm, the sense of distaste in my mouth, I am knowing it. Like that, even the heat and cold of the food which I am taking, when they are passing through my intestine or into my stomach, the heat or the cold is felt by me. So all this way, the objects are known to me. Therefore, I am the perceiver. Drishtrutaya. Whereas everything else is drishyataya or drishyam, means seen as objects. I am the drishta or the seer or the perceiver of. Tatra hedu maha mama iti. The reason for this is given by the word mama. Whenever I am using the object, any part of the body as object, my heart is mama hridayam. So I am not my heart. Even though we know that when the heart stops, I stop functioning through this body. But even then, when I am saying the heart, I am saying mama hridayam. It is the word is used is mine. Mama ayam dehaha. Iti gadadivat swiya sambanditaya nirdeshat vyavaharat. The association or the owned by me is the way in which I own the body, like I own a pot or a table or a car. Therefore, mama ayam, the way usage that this body is mine. When I am saying that it is an object of possession for me, I am associating itself as an object which can be possessed, or I am the one which is associated with the ownership of the body. Evam ubayo vailashanyam sati katam dehaka pumaniti syat. This distinction between the two, between the body and the deha, is well-best vikhyada artha chaturtha padaha. That is being repeated again now and now in this thing. This is the way in which the remaining 5 verses has to be understood. The next verse is 33. Is Aham vikara heenastuhu deho nityam vikaravan iti pratiyate sakshat katam syad dehaka puman. Aham vikara heenas. I, vikara heena mean without any modification or change. But, tu means but. Dehaha nityam vikaravan. The body is eternally changing, nityam. Because yesterday's body is not there with me today. Or this moment body is not there in the next moment. Everything goes through aging, the sense of aging and vikara. Iti pratiyate sakshat. This is a direct knowledge for us. Sakshat pratiyate, directly. Then how can we say katam syad deha puman? Then how can we say that we are the body? Here also it is that said. Puna vailakshanya antaram aha aham vyakhyada artaha vikara heenaha jayate asti ityadi shad vikara heenaha. jayate, asti, viparinimate, vriddhi, apakshiyate, nashyati. These are the 6. Jayate is born. Asti means exists. Only after it is born, you can say it is. Even though that asti here is not the asti of the Atman or Brahman. Here it is talking about the body. Viparinimate, it transforms from childhood to adult, to teenager, to adolescent, to old age. Vriddhi grows from the small size, toddler, to the full-fledged body of the human being, or the same way with the cow or horse or animals also. Apakshiyate, then when you become a matured age, and then the slope downward starts, where the decay takes over. And ending with nashyati, it is how the death or the decay or the end of the decay takes place. To vailakshanye dehaha nityam sarvakalam vikaravan. The body, the ātmā doesn't aham, it doesn't go through any of these vikaras. Whereas it is this deha which goes through the shat vikara, which I explained right now. Nityam sarvakalam vikaravan. It is always subject to change and modification all the times. Atra kim pramanam iti aha iti sakshat pratyaksha pramane priyate. You don't need any pramana for it. The means of knowing that ayam vikara rahitaha dehaha vikaravan iti. That I am not undergoing any change, but my body is undergoing change. This doesn't need any other pramana other than the pratyaksha. The direct perception by the sense organs or the intellect or the mind, we can know that the I-ness in me has not undergone any change from my childhood to the adolescent to the old age. The I-ness has not undergone any change. Whereas my body has gone through change is my pratyaksha pramana. It is a direct knowledge. Anubhuyate. It is my direct experience. Evam sati, having given this situation, katam syat dehaka pumaniti. How can you say that I am the body? This is the way in which it is continued. We have some more verses which is elucidating the same thing, which we will take up in the Friday's class, so that we can complete the 7 verses of how that they is not to be identified as we. This is a set of, again, slokas which is very helpful for de-identifying with the body to arrive at who we are. We will discuss this in the Friday's class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you. Dhanyavada.
Thank you, Bindaji. Thank you so much. I think we're all aware how, although this sounds so basic in Advaita, to reframe the relationship to the body, it's very important, and it's certainly not as easy or simple as it sounds like it is. So thank you for bringing all this forward. I think there's been quite a lot of discussion one way or another around this topic for the last couple weeks, and we invite everyone to come up if they'd wish. Raise your hand and Prakash will bring you up. Also, we're asking if you have questions or discussion on this topic that we're having in the room, please bring it up to the speaker panel, so that we can just use the chat to support what's happening on the speaker panel. Questions that arise in the chat that won't be the focus. And so just thought we'd mention that based on some recent rooms. So please come up and actually speak with us. Binduji would appreciate that.
Namaste, everyone. Namaste, Binduji.
Namaste, Karin.
Just a quick check. When it's spoken about the body, does that include the mental image we have created for ourselves?
Yes.
Okay.
Everything. It is my mind, My
Yes.
mind, my emotions, my feelings, my thoughts.
Yes, but if you objectify it and you take the me out of it, then the thoughts and things and actions is still going to be influencing by that ego if that isn't addressed, right? We say it's going beyond the mind.
No, all the time the I is different from the mind and the body. You never identify with the ego also. Even there, we are not talking about even the ego is known in the mind.
Mm-hmm.
We know
Okay.
that selfishness or the egotism which we exhibit is through the mind or the mind as a reason for it.
Yes. Okay. And according to the scriptures, that cannot be eliminated?
That is also a part of the body which need to be de-identified with.
Understood. Yes, that was my check. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Karin.
Is there anyone else who would like to come? Oh, please go ahead, Binduji.
No, I don't think there is. I didn't see anybody else having questions or coming up.
Okay, I think there are people with questions. Certainly in a group that big, there must be questions, but they aren't coming up. I agree with you on that one. So if there's anyone else, last call for bringing up a topic of discussion that's related to today's class. Okay, there is somebody. And anybody else, please, I just want to emphasize, this is a real opportunity. And even if your question, if you feel that it's difficult for you to phrase it, if there is some point that you have, bring it up. Binduji has often said, it doesn't help us to hold on to our doubts and our questions. So, Venkat, welcome. I always get so much benefit out of listening to you. So take all the time you need, please.
Hariom, this is now taking the root of the Aham. Aham and Aham Pratyaya. Aham is the one of the components of the mind. Pratyaya is intuitively available. Not essentially you can classify part of the mind. The pre-verbal I available. Now using which you avikari, you can do the other classifications around it. This pratyaya and now further utilization of it as a reference is the most that can be done, right, Binduji?
Here, the Aham is not a mental concept or imagination of the individuality. The I, Aham, which is being referred in these verses, is to the Purusha or the ātmā, which is, even though the word ātmā means aham, both are getting confused. The ātmā doesn't have the aham as a pratyaya or imagination. Pratyaya means concept or imagination. The ātmā is ātmā only. But when we transact it, we don't have any other word other than ātmā to express it. Therefore, confusion can come from the aham, which we are referring to the individuality, not even the ego, the pre-verbalized individuality feeling. That itself is part of the thing which we have to make the difference between the two. The aham, which is referred here in all these slokas and the particular Aparokshanubhuti book, here reference is to even before the concept of the individuality I.
Perfect.
It is there, ātmā and aham is one and the same there.
Yeah. So pre-verbalization gives that space to examine. Correct, Binduji?
Right.
So that little space is profoundly available to examine everything, even to apply avikari. It is experientially available. Hence, all that examination can be done and concluded in the way the whole, each of the verse taking us right now.
Right.
Now, this aspect itself, I'm not objectifying it. This aspect itself is not empty. There is no shunya in this. Now, the shunya is a concept of mind. Hence, there is a questioning happened earlier. Now, how can you say this is empty, right? That was the reference taken to describe shunya.
Shunya is atyanta bhava, what is being referred here. Atyanta bhava means absolute non-existence. That is what the śūnyavādins are talking about. If it is not the body, mano buddhi ahankara chittani aham, everything which we says we are not, then they are not able to conceptualize anything, so they think it is shunyam. And atyanta shunyam is something like the horns of a hare or a flower from the sky, or things like that, which is never possible to exist in this world. That is not the one which is with that. How can the śrunyavāda be ātmā? Because if it had been absolute non-existence, that ātmā can never know anything, because it is not there. It is non-existent. Then ātmā cannot be the one which is saying that vikara shunya, that what we call it as Satchitananda, the awareness, the knowledge, or the bliss. None of these aspects can never be part of the ātmā if it is atyanta shunya.
But in this direction we were taken right now. But that shunya itself is not available for experience, right, Binduji?
Yes, it is not available for experience. But experience is something which you can never say no.
Okay.
Because you cannot say, the one who is saying that it is shunyata, the person who says, then he is saying I am also shunyata, no? Because he is ātmā.
Okay, so then shunyata is at a conceptual level at the best.
It is actually speaking, there is a difference in the way in which Shunyata is being explained by
Nagarjuna, right?
Nagarjuna and others,
Now,
whereas
how do you
Shunyata
tally that?
being used.
But as per Nagarjuna and the way right now Aham Pratyaya, how do you tally these two? Because I'm not able to tally these two at all anytime.
See, the absoluteness which they are talking about, Shunyata, cannot be used for ātmā. If Nagarjuna has used the word Shunyata, then he has used a wrong word for that. Even though his definition of Shunyata may be similar in lines with Atman or Brahman, but by using the word Shunyata, he has used a wrong word for it. Because Shunyata shows that non-existence, whereas the nature of Atma or Brahman is existence itself. So how can you say non-existence as the nature of Atma or Brahman? That is the problem.
Got it, Binduji. I don't have any further questions, Binduji. That's
Thank you.
the verse is taking us there. Good enough, Binduji.
Yes. Thank you.
Binduji.
Namaste, Harishanji.
Namaskar, Bindu sir. I just wanted to ask you one question. Actually, when I go deep hearing all this, I have a genuine confusion that with the objectification, because whatever you call, when you say ātmā, when you call whatever it is, suddenly human tendency is to objectify it. Atman is something like a body, something like a mind. When you say mind also, you start objectifying it. How big is the impediment of objectifying in Vedanta? Because objectifying, ultimately there is no object. So if you try to objectify, then you make more and more confusion. So how to get rid, whether it is required to...
No, you cannot objectify. You cannot objectify anything. I mean, Atma or Brahman here. The reason why we cannot objectify is simply because of the reason being that objectification is at the mind level, through the mind. And the moment it is objectified, it can never be the subject. Then subject only will be able to see the object. Here we are talking about the subject. And if the subject is trying to objectify subject itself as an object, then you get into a vicious loop of anavastha dosham, what you call infinite regression. You can never know that which will come first. That is the problem by the subject trying to objectify the subject itself as an object. Therefore, in Advaita, they are saying that is why there is the non-duality only is the answer for it. In the sense that if there is even if an iota of duality is there, the subject-object will happen. But when there is no duality, then there is only subject. The subject is everything. And when the subject is everything, what you are objectifying is not the subject in the object. See, for example, I can never know myself as an object, but I know I exist. I cannot deny that. And it is my awareness as awareness in which I am knowing everything else. Now, when I am saying everything else, I am putting the qualification and name and form, etc., as the objectificating factors, but not the existence and awareness aspect in the names and forms. That is I myself, the one which is my own nature as existence awareness, is the same existence awareness is present in you also. But when I am objectifying you, the subject aspect of you is the same subject aspect of mine. Therefore, I cannot say that I know your subject, your own nature. But I can only say the adjectives because of nama rupa of yours. Therefore, I say Hari Krishnan is your name and this is your form or this is what you are. But your own knowledge about yourself, my own knowledge about myself is one and the same. Neither you will be able to see it in me nor I will be able to see it in you as objects. But at the same time, being one and the same is the reason why we are able to transact, because the existence and awareness aspect is present in you and in me. And that is the reason why at the name and form level there is a transaction, but at the fundamental reality level there is only oneness, there can never be a transaction.
So you mean to say that once you start, in the starting level, you have that objectification, and when you go to the higher levels, you don't have that objectification. You get rid of that objectification.
It dissolves. The objectification dissolves. It is no more seen as objectifying nature. I see that oneness, or we see the oneness, which is the Upanishads also is confirming it. Yatra anyah pasyati, anyah sṛunoti, anyah vijanati, or tattvamasi, aham brahmasmi, or sarvam khalu idam brahma. All those things are giving that aspect of it. At the existence awareness level, there is no objectification possible at anybody's level. But what happens is when in the transactional level, we are transacting with the names and forms. This transaction appears to be real because the names and forms is dependent on a reality which is common to you and me. And because of that commonality, even though we are one and the same, the transactional aspect when it comes, there is difference between you and me because your name and form is different from my name and form. But the dependency of your name and form and my dependency of my name and form, there is no difference. It is just like that, the best way to example to you will be, there are two waves you are seeing in the ocean are separate. We say that is a different wave, this is a different wave. We say that it's because there is a form and visual differentiation between the two. But when we look at that wave, the dependency of the wave, of both the waves, is the same ocean. And if you remove that ocean, these two waves cannot be independent and existing, because without waves there is no existence. Same way, the same fundamental reality which you have your names and form, and the same fundamental reality with which I am having the name and form, if that is removed from you and me, you will not exist, I will not exist. The name and form deeds at substratum on which it has to depend. My name and form has a substratum on which it is dependent. The substratum of your and substratum of mine is the one and the same. One who knows this, he has no problem with the world, because he knows the reality, and he is also able to transact with the world, because he knows the transaction is only for the name and form. In reality, there is no transaction taking place. So whatever is happening, he is not taking it as a reality which is happening. His knowledge is so established that he knows that it is only an appearance. With the dependency on the reality, this transaction seems to be happening. That is the knowledge of a jnani.
Thank you, Viduri. I'll listen to replays once again and then get back to you once I have some clarifications. Thank you.
Thank you, Harishanji. Welcome, Alan.
Namaskaram, Vidurji.
Namaskaram.
Pranams.
Pranams.
Pranams. It's a beautiful session. I think it's a very subtle contemplation. It looks like the mind can experience the action, mind can experience the thoughts. It is possible. But action, let us say if I'm moving my hands or waving my hands, it's an action. It can be experienced by the mind. Even the body can experience that. Even the thought is triggered by the body gestures movement. But just a simple hand cannot experience the thought. Reverse is not possible. So the grosser is the final part, annamaya kosha, that is the hand, final physical part. And subtler than action is the thought. Subtler than the thought is the mind. Subtler than the mind is, I think śrunyavāda or consciousness, let's say. Śrunyavāda is not valid, as you said rightly. Let's say it's a consciousness I don't know the right word, but it's a generic consciousness, the Brahman. So the experience is not possible in the reverse direction, but in the forward direction, anything that is grosser than the experiencer, the experience happens. So anything that's subtler than that is not possible, because the experience is something that is exclusive to the mind only. There is no experience for consciousness, because it cannot experience. It can only exist.
Yes, you are absolutely right.
Yeah.
That is why it is said that, it is not an object. It can never be an object at any point of time, nor can it objectify itself.
Absolutely.
So that is the absolute level where, there is no more object left to segregate them. When you do neti, all the objects can be negated. But what remains after that is the subject, where the subject cannot deny itself as object. So it's a self-denial is not possible.
Yeah. In fact, the duality stops with the mind layer itself, because that's right. It creates a question and it as if finding the answer.
Yes.
There is a duality, and then what is already present, it is trying to split it up in the name of duality, and then realization happens. Then it becomes a non-duality. It realizes that there is no two, but there is only one. That it has been fighting for. That such a concept stops with the mind itself. That's what the seeking, inquiry, enlightenment, everything is to the mind, not to the consciousness.
Consciousness doesn't need a real enlightenment, because it's
already
Shuddha. It's Nitya Shuddha. Yeah.
Yes.
Externally it's pure. So what is
Exactly.
required is for the mind. Yes, as you rightly said.
Yeah.
Thank you,
And
Eli.
after realization, after the mind realizes that there is something exists behind me that eliminates me, that mind, that's me, then only as long as it is the utmost possibility is just only a realization. There is something exists behind the mind, which is a Brahman, and that eliminates everything in the world. That is Sarvam Kalvidam Brahman. And that's what it is, as it is. However it is, that's what it is. And that's a realization. But post-realization, the experience gets enriched. And the way that we see the world, interact with the world, or transact with the world is not in a duality, but in a oneness.
Right. That's why after you wake up from a dream, the dream is no more a daunting or any sort of experience at all. It was a feeling. Or same way, when we have the realization that it is the mind which is creating the duality and all these confusion which we are having, and it is because of the instrument of the mind, the experience, the appearance, the creation, the designing, or whatever name you want to call it as. All the names and forms are at the mind level. The moment that is known at the mind level, the mind becomes satisfied with all the questions which can come up. He will be able to answer. The mind will be able to answer it is as it is part of the name and form. Dependency on the name and form, all things are happening. All the definitions are happening. And once the mind knows that, the mind becomes a quiet mind, and that mind is no more disturbed by anything else. That is what is called the Sthita Prajna in Bhagavad Gita.
Absolutely. The waves becomes rest and becomes water.
Yes. Apuryamana Machala Pratishtam. That final verse of chapter 2.
I'm sorry, that not becomes water. It is already a water, but it is in the state of water itself. Just
Yes,
a wave just quietens. That's it.
that's right. Thank you, Ellen.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Glad to be getting to know you a little bit. Thank you to everybody. I do think, and we'll of course continue our classes 8:30 p.m. IST here on Friday, usually on Wednesdays and Fridays, and the open discussion at the same time on Sundays. However, Bindo, am I correct that you might want to ask a question of people who are in the listener panel before we close? I believe so.
Yeah,
If you do, okay. So give
I'll
me
go
one
ahead and
moment.
ask the.
Yeah. Give me
Go
one
ahead.
moment. I'll pass it entirely to you, and after you do that, then we'll just give a few minutes or a minute or so for people to respond if they want to, and they'll have future opportunities in the next few classes as well. But again, just remember that within a day or so, the replays are always on the YouTube channel Advaita Retold. They're here immediately. We really invite you all to catch up with this particular class and sincerely invite people to bring their ongoing discussions on this really fundamental topic on up for an in-person discussion. So, and again, thank you, Prakash, for all that you do with everything behind the scenes with posting and bringing people up and sometimes running the room. It makes a huge amount of support to myself and then ultimately to Bindo, of course. So, Bindoji, if you want to bring your question up and then you can go ahead and close out and depart if you wish, and I'll just keep the room open for a minute or so people can respond in the chat, and then we can look at that afterwards. So thank you again.
Thank you, dear. Atmisha, thank you, Prakash. See, the one which I want to make announcement or feedback from all of you is that from 10th of August, I am traveling to Australia. And it is 4.5 hours ahead of India right now, which means right now it is is 2:30 in the midnight in Australia. So if I have to continue the classes, it is just not possible for me to do the class from Australia at this time. So I have a suggestion in my mind that instead of doing at 8:30 p.m. Indian time, I can do it either 6:30 a.m. or 6 a.m. on Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Instead of Wednesday, Friday and Sunday, I can do it as Monday, Wednesday and Friday, 6:30 a.m., which will be 11 o'clock for me there in Australia. The only people who will be not able to benefit by that is those who are in the European zone. But I think both US and India can benefit, but only thing is that people will have to get up a bit early in the morning to attend the class. If that is okay, do let me know either in the chat or through any communication means. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 a.m. or 6:30 a.m. One of the two. I will prefer 6:30 a.m. But if 6 a.m. is also fine with you all, I don't mind because I'll start at 10:30. That's okay. That is not a difficult thing. But I don't know about the Eastern or the Pacific time, whether they'll be convenient for them. So we have 6 more classes at Indian time, 8:30 p.m. before I decide on that. So either to this class or the coming Friday class or Sunday class, you can put up your suggestion in the chat here so that, all others will know that what is the best time suitable, and then I can conclude that before I go to Australia from 10th August to November 10th. That will be 3 months of Australian timing, which I'll have to follow. Once I am back here, we will revert back to the same timing. So do let me know what is your choice and whatever is your options. Either today or on Friday or on Sunday, you can do that. There is no hurry for it. Take your own time because we'll be having 6 more classes before I go to Australia.
So Binduji, just correct me if I'm mistaken, but when you spoke to me, I think you were saying that the reason for asking is to see go with whatever benefits people, the most number of people. So therefore, if you have a real need of 6 versus 6:30, it's very beneficial if you let us know, because Bindu will go with what more people want. And then, the other option would be, if none of this worked out, potentially to not have classes during those 3 months. Is that a correct understanding, Binduji?
Yes. Yeah. If 6:30 a.m. is not suitable and not people able to attend, either they can listen to the replay. If they don't want to, if that is not that enough number of people cannot attend that, then I may as well not have class for 3 months and come back and then start from where I left. Before I leave for Australia. That is what I am.
Right. And although there's not any great hurry, we'll be deciding, definitely ahead of departure. So don't, wait a few weeks and then let us know. If you know, please, it'll help Binduji and planning for how the rooms will occur. So, let's just see. One person has responded in the chat. Maybe there won't be other responses. If you haven't responded already, then, it would be helpful to know, on another class if you'll put it in the chat. Otherwise, we're kind of mind reading. So, okay. Thank you for clarifying that, Binduji. Please go ahead and close us out.
Okay. Thank you all. See you all on Friday. Make up your mind and let us know by Friday or the week or Sunday. See you. Hari Om. Good night.
Hari Om.
Good night. Hari Om.